Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for the witnesses. I know it's been a long session. I wanted to talk a little bit about sea level rise and relocation. According to the 2018 National Climate Assessment, there are 49.4 million housing units along the coastal shoreline and coastal watershed communities, and homes and businesses worth at least $1.4 trillion sit within about 1/8 mile of the coast. Many of those are frontline communities, as you've described. A couple of examples, experiences we've had have not been all that smooth, and I'll just describe them. In Alaska, in Newtok, in 2018, the Alaska Denali Commission, which funds rural infrastructure projects, awarded $15 million to relocate 350 people to nearby Nelson Island. Those people had been forced to move there in the first place. It's a tribe. But it's estimated that it will be 2023 before enough homes are built for everyone, and the Army Corps estimates in the end it'll cost $130 million to relocate the village. So that's it's 350 people, $130 million. The other examples in Louisiana, at Isle de Jean Charles, is that close?
That's it.
Is that close?
In Louisiana?
In Louisiana, it's 2 hours west of New Orleans. And this is a community of 60 to 80 residents, and we've earmarked $48 million for that. We've purchased land for $12 million out of that $48 million. In 2016, the Department of Housing and Urban Development under President Obama awarded $1 billion in disaster resilience grants to 13 states, $48 million for this group in Louisiana. The state bought a 515-acre farm 35 miles north of the island for about $12 million. But program eligibility is limited to permanent residents, and those displaced by Hurricane Isaac in 2012. Residents are required to maintain the property as a primary residence for 5 years. Most residents here belong to the Biloxi Chitimacha Choctaw tribe, but the tribal community council has recommended withdrawal from the project because of unresolved concerns about the terms of the settlement. So you got two issues going on. One is there's not going to be enough money to do this for everyone at these rates. And two is we don't appear to have engaged the community in a way that was effective to provide the relief that they need. And so let me ask you and anyone who wants to answer, is there a good model for the federal government developing a way to engage local communities in developing relocation plans like this? Ms. Cribbins?
I'd be happy to jump in. I think, working at the local government level, what we always appreciate is early consultation and discussion. I think it's really tempting for all of us to come up with solutions and then tell people what the solutions are that we've figured out for them. But frankly, these communities want to be engaged early on in the process, and they want to know what their options are. And if there are other options, we should be exploring them. For example, in my county, there's been 2 large projects that have restored very marginal farmlands from willing sellers to marshlands. And though that is because we've had repeated flooding in my community. We're a coastal community. So projects like that can help negate the need to do these relocations.
Mr. Ali, you've spoken a lot, but you do have a unique perspective. You were a founding member of the EPA's Office of Environmental Justice. You serve as a board member for the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and Union of Concerned Scientists. You're widely regarded as a global leader for grassroots climate change activism. Given your experience on both sides, inside and outside of the big gray buildings, do you think that Congress should create a lead federal entity or sort of a national agency to deal with climate change and relocation?
Most definitely. We're going to need something like that. If we're going to be able to address, as you've said, the economic challenges that exist in that space. And the other thing that we don't talk about is culture. So how do we protect culture in this space also? You look at the Gullah Geechee off the South Carolina, North Carolina coast. They are also going to lose their land because of what's going on. You mentioned our indigenous brothers and sisters in Louisiana. So we've got to be mindful also. And we've got to also make sure that people are honored in that space and that their housing values, that whatever we're going to not give, because that they are a part of our family, our American family, that they have enough to be able to move as a full community if they choose to. Just one last thing, there is a model plan for public participation that was created by frontline communities and others for the engagement of folks. So we have tools that are out there that we could utilize.
If that's written down, we'd love to get it from you. And my time has expired. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.